It might not be Mikko Rantanen or Marty Necas, but we still got a pretty big trade in the NHL. The Calgary Flames have acquired Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for Andrei Kuzmenko, Jacob Pelletier, a second-round pick, and a seventh-round pick. The second-round pick is in 2025. That's this draft. And the seventh-round pick is in 2028. I don't know why that makes me laugh. Like, why is that pick even there? Is that what helped get it across the line? Craig, there is no way in hell this trade gets across the finish line unless you give me a seventh-round pick 4 drafts from now. Oh, you will? Oh, okay, thank you. This trade obviously doesn't include the names that we saw the other day with the Avalanche and the Hurricanes, Rantanen and Necas, but I think it's a really interesting one. Yeah, the Calgary Flames, who have spent more days in a playoff spot in recent memory than they haven't. Dustin Wolf is incredible, and they've seen a bounce back from last season where they were completely miserable. The Philadelphia Flyers had like 2 seasons in one last year. One where they were pretty clearly a playoff team, and one where they pretty clearly weren't. This year, they're in the hunt in what is a tight Eastern Conference, but they've spent more days out of the playoffs than in. I want to start with what the Calgary Flames got in this. It's a little easier. They get 2 players. One thing I've seen in the portrayal of this trade is, whoa, the Flames got 2 first-round picks. That's true, but it's also not. To me, it's kind of like me saying to you, hey, do you want 2 PlayStations? And you go, what? Yeah, of course I do. And then I hand you 2 PS4s. Now, I didn't lie to you, but what's your first thought? These PlayStations are a little older than what's ideal. Yeah, like their first round picks, Joel Farabee was the 14th overall pick in 2018, which is now 7 years ago. And Morgan Frost was a 27th overall pick in 2017, which is 8 years ago. I guess what I'm saying is I don't like the portrayal of Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost as like these young up-and-coming prospects. Farabee's 24, Frost is 25. They're young, but they're not like the way, oh, we got 2 first-round picks. That's not what you're picturing. Now, I guess if you're a Flames fan, what's the most important question? Yeah, that's right. Are they good? And the answer is a definitive, it depends. Joel Farabee is in the 3rd year of a 6-year contract that pays him $5 million per year. And whenever I get to watch a Flyers game, he's been a player that I've really enjoyed watching. I think he's an entertaining player. Last year, he had a career-high 22 goals. That's pretty good. A career-high 28 assists. That's pretty good. And a career-high 50 points. That's pretty good. And you know what? Just to put a little stamp on it, a career-high 82 games. Perfect. That's so many games. This is back-to-back perfect season in terms of attendance. This year, oh baby, he's played 50 games. He has 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points. He has not eclipsed 20 points yet. Good enough for 11th on the Flyers in scoring. Now the good news is I don't think that's the kind of player Joel Farabee is. I think he's going to be way better than 19 points. I think he's going to be way better than 38 points out of every 100 games. He found himself in the doghouse of John Tortorella, which is not always the easiest doghouse to climb out of. And I said he's 11th on the Flyers in scoring this year. Well, he was 3rd last year. So obviously something's up this year, and it was time for a change of scenery. Now he goes to Calgary. He gets that opportunity. And now Calgary acquires a player who can be a solid contributor somewhere in their middle 6. Maybe even their top line some nights, depending on who's healthy and who isn't. And while acquiring a reclamation project in Joel Farabee, you get Morgan Frost, who has had a really strange tenure with the Flyers. 2 years ago, 19 goals and 46 points in 81 games. Here we go. He finally broke out after a career high of 16 points prior to that. They were waiting for Frost to break out. He did, and then last year, he went backward. Only 13 goals, only 41 points, a little bit higher in the points per game, but still a lot to be desired. So far in 49 games this season, 11 goals, 25 points, which is okay. He also makes $2.1 million against the cap as a young center in this league, and he just happens to be a restricted free agent this summer. Here's what I think matters most for the Calgary Flames, though. They lose Andrei Kuzmenko in this deal, and they lose Jacob Pelletier in this deal. So, do the Calgary Flames get better now? They're in a tight playoff race now. Does acquiring Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee make the Flames better now? In my opinion, yeah. Both those guys bolster your offensive depth, and Andrei Kuzmenko wasn't doing that this year. Like, just the ultimate hot and cold player. His rookie season with the Canucks, he has 39 goals and 74 points. Yeah, sign this guy forever. The following season, he finds himself with 8 goals and less than half a point a game with the Canucks, and they trade him to the Flames. With the Flames, he's shot out of a cannon. Half a point a game, he's half a goal a game. This year, in 37 games, he has 4 goals. So, sorry, why are the Flyers trading for this player who makes $5.5 million? Okay, Farabee has years left on his contract. Kuzmenko's contract is expiring. Okay, I guess I understand that. Oh, Kuzmenko is a former teammate of Matvei Michkov from the KHL. Why is that relevant? Well, last night, John Tortorella and Matvei Michkov were screaming at each other on the bench as Michkov played under 9 minutes. You know what's funny? If you only dig an inch deep, you see a very obvious conflict between John Tortorella and Matvei Michkov, and you're like, oh, typical hard-nosed coach is giving a young player a hard time. It's actually a lot more complicated than that. Michkov is a young star in this league with super-duper star potential. He's an extraordinarily important player on the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Flyers are actually taking lots of measures to make sure they don't screw this kid up. On some of the nights where he's been a healthy scratch, John Tortorella has explained, like, we want the kid to be watching games and understanding what we want him to do, and once a week we get him in a room with a translator. Russian defenseman Igor Zamula has been a player where the Flyers have relied on him at times to convey messages to Michkov on account of they speak Russian. But Tortorella has also expressed concern that that was actually affecting Zamula's game. This is a very important factor with young players in this league. It was a big reason why Jesse Puljujärvi didn't work out in Edmonton. I mean, that and the injuries, but you had no one to talk to. Even if you're one of the most talented young players in the league, you need to be able to communicate, and people need to be able to communicate with you. Kuzmenko, who has been conveyed to me won't exactly be John Tortorella's cup of tea, has to convey John Tortorella's wishes. He has to convey John Tortorella's wishes to this kid. And it probably wouldn't hurt if he also just happened to be a good player as well, which we know he can be. He definitely can be and has not been this season. Then there's another first round pick in this deal, Jacob Pelletier, who was picked 26th overall in 2019. He's actually the most recent first round pick in this deal. Another guy who I wouldn't exactly call a John Tortorella player. He likes feisty guys who are rough and tumble, and Pelletier is 5'9", 170 pounds. Keeping in mind that the Flyers' best player is Travis Konechny, who is 5'10" and 192. So maybe Marcus Stroman was right, and height doesn't measure heart. Now this season, Pelletier is a point-a-game player in the AHL. 19 points in 20 games with the Calgary Wranglers. Only 3 of those are goals, so he's been heavily a playmaker, but whatever, he's generating offense when he's out there. In his games in the NHL, though, this season, 24 of them, he's got 11 points, and 4 of those are goals. He's actually scoring more in the NHL than the A. And he's 23, he doesn't turn 24 till March. So combining the fact that the Flyers got the youngest player in this deal and a second round pick. I'm not even going to worry about the 7th round pick. They got the youngest player in this deal who appears to be hitting his stride and a second round pick. The Philadelphia Flyers get better down the road. They get better in the future. They sacrifice a little bit of now to get better in the future. Except how much of now did they really sacrifice? Morgan Frost was doing all right, but obviously fell out of favor. Joel Farabee, even more so, was doing less than all right and fell way out of favor. Those are players who will benefit from being on the Calgary Flames, and the Flyers will benefit from not having them anymore because they weren't using them properly. Even if they were using them properly, it wasn't working out. As for the Calgary Flames, are you really sad you lost Andrei Kuzmenko? I don't think so. Pelletier is one that fans are struggling with a little bit, and I understand, former first-round pick, and he's 23, again, I'm going to emphasize, when it comes to hockey, there's a big difference between 23 and 25. He's given you every indication that in the minors, he can be a really capable scorer. It's just doing it consistently in the NHL. I guess what I'm saying is, for all 4 players who were involved in this trade, things weren't working out. Things weren't working out for them, and it wasn't working out for the team they were with. I really like this deal for both teams because everyone gets a fresh start. Farabee gets a fresh start, and even if it doesn't work out, he still gets his money. It's guaranteed. And Morgan Frost has a chance to earn a big payday when he becomes an RFA in July. Andrei Kuzmenko, honestly, how much longer was he going to be sticking around in the NHL at this rate? Now he gets to play with his buddy. Now he gets to be the Michkov whisperer. Now there's a pretty solid chance he gets to play on a line with the kid. This could earn him millions. And Jacob Pelletier, I think it'll be nice to play in a place where you're wanted. Because talented as he is, for whatever reason, it wasn't ever going to work out with the Flames. I think both GMs did pretty good here. Briere helped solve a very important organizational problem. He gets rid of a long-term deal with big money that wasn't working out. He gets some draft capital. What's not to like? As for the Calgary Flames, they get better now. Everyone likes that. That's just my opinion. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. SDPN, buddy, subscribe because there's a lot of trades going down and a lot more to come.